The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
You're now about to witness the truth.
It's the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Benjamin Dixon Show. I am your host, Benjamin Dixon. It is Tuesday, the last Super Tuesday of this election cycle, June 7th, 2016. Thank you so much for joining us. We will have live election coverage with results coming in as they filter in. I'll give you some updates, but we want to cover a lot of things tonight, including news agencies making news instead of reporting the news. Of course, if you've been paying any attention over the last 24 hours, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The Associated Press has declared Hillary Clinton to be the winner. We'll unpack that a little bit more. Donald Trump is starting to lose support. It's right. It only makes sense, right? It only makes sense that he would lose support considering who and what he is and what he is turning the Republican Party, or what he's exposing the Republican Party to have always been. But apparently some people just can't go the distance with his bigotry. And then last but not least, I want to talk about just the election in general and some observations that I've had. Listen, I've been away, so I want to take a little moment to thank everyone for your patience while I was gone. I decided to do an epic road trip. We drove from Boston down to Florida with two little kids, and we had a great time. So thank you guys for allowing me some time away. I'm back refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready to go. Thanks to the team, Progressive Army, David and Anoa, and all the rest of you guys for making it happen while I was gone. Big news since we've been gone. The Benjamin Dixon Show is now officially a part of the Ring of Fire network. Yep. I will give myself an applause. So the Ring of Fire network is a great network of progressive hosts. You know a lot of them. David Pakman is a part of the network. Sam Cedar is a part of the network. There's quite a few voices over there and quite a few shows. Ed Schultz is a part of the network. Tom Hartman is a part of the network. So there's a lot of great progressive hosts over there, and they've just picked up the Benjamin Dixon Show, which will expose us to a larger audience. So I want to thank the team over at the Ring of Fire for offering and bringing me in. And also want to thank you guys, the viewers and the listeners and the supporters who consistently support the Benjamin Dixon Show. We cannot do this without you. So thanks so much. We'll keep speaking truth to power and spreading it as wide as we possibly can. You can join the conversation tonight. 857-600-0518 is the number, or you could tweet me at the BPD Show. Now, all of that being said, let's start with well, I do. Oh, yeah. Oh, thanks, Anoa. Anoa just reminded me. She just wished me happy birthday. Thanks to everyone who sent me a birthday wish on Sunday. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. You guys didn't have to do that. And I got so many wishes that I couldn't keep up with them all. So thanks a lot. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, with all that being said, let's talk about the news. So it looks like Hillary Clinton is up in New Jersey. We're still getting some results. It's going to be a while. We may be a late night with California, obviously. But what's on top of the news right now as we unpack this is the Associated Press. So last night, as I was driving back, I think I was somewhere around Richmond, Virginia, I got a notification from the Associated Press, because I always consider the Associated Press to be a reputable source that I can count on to just deliver the news. And so I have those notifications, one of the few notifications that actually come to my phone. And at 8:22 on yesterday, you can see it on your screen on YouTube. I'll read it. They said AP count: Hillary Clinton has commitments from delegates needed to become presumptive Democratic presidential nominee, will be first woman to top major party ticket. And as I'm reading that, I just got a new notification from the Associated Press stating that Hillary Clinton has won New Jersey. So in terms of your live coverage of primary results, Hillary Clinton has won New Jersey. Now, back to what they've said last night. This was, as soon as it came across my screen, I knew what time it was, right? There are so many problems with a news agency making a declaration based on undemocratically elected superdelegates the night before a major election day. Now, you can make all the justifications you want about their math, right? About the unlikelihood that the superdelegates will switch from Hillary Clinton over to Bernie Sanders. You can make all of those justifications. But there is not a single person in this world who can justify to me that there was something intrinsically important about making this announcement last night that trumps the importance and the value of all the people going to vote today. Because everyone in the media can tell you the media has a direct effect on voter turnout, which is why on most nights that there is election coverage, they will do their very best to encourage people to stay in line and not make an announcement until it is definitive. Even if it's based on exit polls, they don't make an announcement until it's definitive because they know what they say across the airways can have an adverse effect on voter turnout. Even voters in line. We saw, I believe it was 2000, where a lot of people left line because of the media coverage. And here the Associated Press not only preemptively announced Hillary Clinton as the winner, they did so on a night that no one voted, and they did so on a night before a major election day. And so I was reading the different, because I like to get the different sides of point of views, right? I'd like to. So I'm reading all the justifications of it. And the most absurd and the most obscene to me came from, goodness, I can't think, what's this guy name? He used to be at The Nation. Now he's at MTV News. I used to follow his timeline. I can't think of his name. A black guy. Worked with, I know everything about him, but I can't tell you his name right now. But anyway, it'll come to me in a second. But his justification was that the numbers weren't going to change, and they got this information from superdelegates directly. Were we expecting the AP to sit on this story? Were we expecting the Associated Press to sit on the story that Hillary? Yes. You know why? Because they have set the precedent, as I will show you in the past, that they wait until everyone has voted before they make this type of declaration. And yes, the superdelegates have not officially voted. And even more important than all of that, the fact that the media has a direct impact on voter turnout. The Associated Press, at a minimum, violated their own journalistic integrity by announcing this the night before a major election. I don't think there's anyone who can argue with my final point on that. Everything else, maybe you can argue. Go ahead and argue that the superdelegates are going to change. Fine, argue that. Go ahead and argue that Hillary Clinton has a huge lead over Bernie Sanders. Fine, argue that. But does any of that, does this story that could just as well have gone out tonight, does anything about this story trump all of the millions of people who voted today and their enfranchisement? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And so the Associated Press took it upon themselves to make the news instead of just reporting the news. And that is, in the words of Glenn Greenwald, a fitting end to this campaign season. But let me unpack this a little bit more. I want to share some things. This is a tweet from Lee Fong of the Intercept. He was referring to 2008. The AP waited until after the last primary, South Dakota and Montana, to count pledged superdelegates to declare President Obama winner 8 years ago. This is from Lee Fong's Twitter timeline, Lee Fong of the Intercept. He followed up. The timestamp on the AP article announcing Obama as nominee was June 3rd, 2008 at 11:16 p.m. after the last major primary election concluded. And he provided also a timestamp. He provided the actual article that shows that in 2008, the Associated Press did the exact opposite of what they did this year. Now, again, does Bernie Sanders have a almost insurmountable, impossible uphill battle that's very likely to turn out in Hillary Clinton's favor? Yes. And I think anyone who's not willing to say that sentence at this point is a little far gone, right? But does that give them the justification, and does that legitimize their tactic last night of what's the rush? Here's my question. AP, it's not like you're some burgeoning clickbait blog that has to beat everyone to the press. You're the fucking Associated Press, who your entire reputation is based on integrity and journalistic integrity and the ability to rise above political spin and simply deliver the facts. You do not have the burden, or as for the love of God, I hope you do not have the burden of clicks, right? So that you're counting on beating everyone else to the punch with this type of story. And so yet another media organization has betrayed their own integrity for what? What's the guy from The Nation, for the love of God? I was hoping a producer would tweet that by now. Not Jamel Bowie. What is that dude's name? He hosts the Intercept. God dog, I can't think of that dude's name. But anyway, like he said, did we expect them to hold out, sit on the story? Listen, we're not talking about them having to make groundbreaking news. This is not the need for someone to be first, but not in the case of the Associated Press. If this was some no-name blog from the dark edges of the internet that needed every bit of attention that it could garner, then yes, this would be a story that I fully expect for them to run with, no matter how controversial, no matter the impact that it would have on an actual election. But this is the damn Associated Press. And if we cannot expect more from them to not insert themselves into the story and not become the story, but rather just report the story, if we can't expect that from them, then who the hell can we expect it from? Apparently nobody. So there's more, actually. Sorry, I'm just taking a little time. So Sean King, reporter with the New York Daily News, tweeted this out earlier today, said that he got this letter from a contact that he has that works on Capitol Hill, and it is an email from Alan Fram of the Washington Bureau of the Associated Press, and he's simply reaching out, wanting to know if a particular congressman or congresswoman was reachable briefly. Quote, "We're rounding up superdelegates." This was yesterday afternoon at 12:03 p.m. So this is the email sent from the Washington Bureau of the Associated Press to members of Congress asking whether or not they are reachable because they're rounding up superdelegates. Then later on last night, they came out with breaking news: Hillary Clinton is the nominee, inserting themselves into the story, making their own news instead of just reporting the news. Now, this is not, in terms of tactics, this is not a surprising tactic to reach out to the superdelegates directly so that they can get a verbal commitment. Who are you voting for? Right. So them doing that in and of itself is not so controversial, so much as everything else that's attached to it. And Sean King actually makes some really great points here. And it's on your screen here. He says in his Twitter timeline, he says, "What I'm saying is that it was basically the Associated Press who pushed Hillary Clinton over the top yesterday. How they did so is newsworthy, period. Today, was literally the biggest day of the entire Democratic primary, with nearly 700 delegates being awarded. Nobody voted yesterday, but the AP pushed until they found enough superdelegates to justify them calling the race. According to Katrina I'm sorry, Katrina. I'm sorry. I really should have worked on your name before I try to announce this. But on Twitter, at Katrina Nation from The Nation, she said the AP's decision is media malpractice and unethical, damaging to voter turnout, especially in California, and bad from some key down ballot races. And that's the thing. It's not just about Bernie Sanders. It's not just about Hillary Clinton. It's about the fact that an announcement like this directly affects voter turnout. And even if it turns out that there's no statistically significant decrease in voter turnout, to hell with that. This is the type of behavior that must be shunned by our media organizations, because if it did not have a significant impact this time, we've seen in the past that it did have significant impact. So this type of behavior has to be avoided. It should be frowned upon, and it is not acceptable. And the fact that you have a lot of Democratic voices promoting this or caping for this and explaining this away shows you just how screwed up this primary has become, and their willingness to betray their own journalistic integrity for the sake of promoting key narratives, the narrative of inevitability and the narrative of Bernie Sanders having a minority problem. They have they have crucified their entire journalistic integrity. Glenn Greenwald of the Intercept, he summed it up best here on your screen. The cover of the New York Times says that Clinton reaches historic mark, AP says. So before I even go into that, this is how it works, right? The AP says it, and that justifies and legitimizes everybody else recycling this and regurgitating this into an infinite echo chamber loop, so that it essentially becomes the narrative. It becomes the news instead of them just reporting the news. Now everybody picks it up, and people truncate that in that AP says, right? The news media organizations, they won't. They'll cover their asses by saying, like the New York Times, this is something from the AP. But for everyone else in general conversations, Hillary Clinton clinches the nomination. And this is what Glenn Greenwald said, and I want to quote directly from the Intercept piece here. This is the perfect symbolic ending to the Democratic primary. The nomination is consecrated by a media organization on a day when nobody voted, based on secret discussions with anonymous establishment insiders and donors whose identities the media organization incredibly conceals. The decisive edifice of superdelegates is itself anti-democratic and inherently corrupt, designed to prevent actual voters from making choices that the party establishment dislikes. But for a party run by insiders and funded by corporate interests, it's only fitting that its nominating process ends with such an ignominious, awkward, and undemocratic sputter. I really should have read that before I read it live on the air. Oh well. Sorry, Glenn. I screwed that one up. But the point, I think, is clear. The point is clear, is that this is one of the most undemocratic ways to end one of the most undemocratic primary seasons that we've been in a very long time, using the most undemocratic methods of squelching and suppressing the progressive movement. Now, there's a little bit more to this story, and let me take a break right here and just tell you what's going on. So New Jersey's 25% in, Clinton is at 59.2%, Sanders is at 40.8%. The Associated Press has called this already for Hillary Clinton. South Dakota, 21% in, Clinton is at 54.6%, Sanders is at 45.4%. And so we're still getting results coming in. Nothing yet for California. I'll report those as they come. But there's a little bit more to the story from last night from the AP. Let's get this here. And you can join the conversation at this point. 857-600-0518. Primary results. Just want to pull up my my other source. So last night, Hillary Clinton sent out an email. I'm sure most of you have seen this by now, but I just have to unpack what this means to me. In that email, she said, feigned surprise, right? Well, this just happened. Okay. Maybe. Right. She shared this image from this actual tweet from the Associated Press. Breaking: AP finds Clinton reached the number of delegates needed to clinch the Democratic nomination for president. And then they have this picture of Hillary Clinton, blah, 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 blah. What they forgot to do on Team Hillary Clinton was to update the metadata, the actual URL of the image. And inside, you can see on the screen that the graphic itself is actually called Secret Win V2 060416. That's what it's actually called. And you can see it right there on your screen, top right hand corner in green. Secret Win V2 060416. So this was actually something they were prepared for. I'm actually thinking about this. I want to think about this before I say this, because I need to I want to double check something. So let me hold this thought. I want to hold this thought before I even run with this, because I want to just confirm something. But this came out last night across multiple outlets. The LA Times did pick this up and share the same thing, that this was actually called a secret win in the metadata. I have to look back at the video and confirm that date, because if that date is correct, then that means that this image was prepared on June 4th. Right. If that date is correct. Matter of fact, hell, let's do that right now. Well, I mean, I have the internet. I can check this for myself. So let me go back to the LA Times. LA Times, secret win Hillary Clinton. Yep. So 22 hours ago. Guys, I need to confirm this, because I didn't notice the actual time, the date stamp. I just noticed the title. So I'm looking at this video now. And they're going into, okay, see, yeah, I'm glad I confirmed this. So on the LA Times version, of this has, oh, no, 060416. Nope, it's the same exact thing. So in the LA Times, there's a video that they've shared. This is a date stamp. I'm sorry. 060416 is obviously June 4th, 2016. They had this image prepared beforehand. I'll let you do all the speculations that you want. What I will say, that this is just another example of why you need to do things properly. Because anything that looks like it's illegitimate, anything that looks crooked or twisted, like this clearly does, can easily be taken that way. And that's about as nice as I can put this. Because if for a person like me looking at this, looking at that date stamp, 06014, 0604 2016, clearly a date stamp saying that this secret win image was prepared on June 4th. Anyway, I'll let you go to some other shows for the rest of that. All right, caller, you're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
Is this me, Ben?
Yes, this is you. What's your name?
Umar from Brooklyn.
Hey, Umar, what's going on, man? Glad to have you on board. What's on your mind?
So the AP puts out this announcement. You go to the same progressive Waterford website. It does not have a lot of hyperbole, I'll admit, but it has a lot of documented instances of weird stuff that's going on. So my question is consistently, I am not denying the numbers. I know it's an uphill battle. But the question is, okay, you got the numbers. Why keep doing this?
Exactly. Yes. You beat me to my... You stole my thunder, Umar. Go ahead.
I'd like to proffer an answer.
Go ahead.
now they're calling Bernie dangerous. I saw your tweet earlier today. I meant to retweet it. I didn't get a chance to.
Yep.
And I'm saying, but also what I predicted, how this culmination of sexism and racism and has all come down to what I knew it was going to come down to. First woman president.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the Chuck Yeager interview?
Yes. Yes.
Where all of a sudden, out of nowhere, well, don't you think Bernie Sanders is being a little sexist for standing in the way of the first woman president? And I said, this is a hell of a drug. But the other side of this is, well, why is Bernie being called dangerous? And now I've noticed that the only things I get is the talk shows, the comedian talk shows, John Oliver, the lady from Weekend Update, and I think she's awesome, except for how she does her Lori Bernie thing.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden I'm beginning to notice that now they're trying to make us a mockery.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you ask yourself a question, when have you seen this before? Black civil rights movement. First there's this castigation. Then there's this sudden mockery.
Mm-hmm.
These people can't be serious. Jesse Jackson's presidency. You know, he's running, you know? I mean,
yeah.
And I tell people, if they have it online, go back to the newspapers and read what they said about Martin Luther King. Now, after he died, while he was doing what he was doing.
Yep.
This dismissal, this mockery not from racists, from the liberals, from the so-called "we are with you" movement establishment.
I agree.
We knew this was going to happen. And I think this is a demoralizing tactic. I think, like you said, 2,000 people left the line because their thing popped up with Hillary won.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And this goes back to what Anoa was saying. Well, what's the counter agent to that? Tweeting is good. Facebook is good. But was there anyone there, bottom line, who saw this, knew it was BS, saying, yo, don't leave the line. This is BS.
Right.
Vote.
Right.
Because they're trying to get rid of Bernie's numbers for some reason. And it's cool they're having a hard time. But we cannot let this happen. This is what you, Tim Black, all of y'all have been saying. This has got to be beyond Bernie. Because now I think we're given a blueprint. Here goes the list of people. They just revealed themselves.
Yep.
So get them out of office.
Absolutely. Umar, thanks so much for that call, man. Let me grab there's so many in line. A lot of people have a lot to say tonight. 857-600-0518 to join the conversation. Caller, you're live on the air. Turn down your radio for me. Turn down your internet, your YouTube, whatever you're listening to. Cut it down and tell us your name, comment, and or question.
Hi, Ben. This is Vita out of San Leandro. We talked before a while back. We talked about elitism, and I don't know if you remember me or not.
I do.
But I just want to say that this I expected this from the Democratic Party, the elitism, the establishment, especially from the establishment from the Black Caucus and the surrogates that they had put out, and the neoliberals, especially and including the white ones, because they do the same stuff. They claim that they're supportive of policies that of equality and progressivism, but they just talk. And the policies year after year, it turns out that people become poorer and don't succeed. So I just want to say that, and I did vote for Bernie today. Me and my daughter, I'm 55 and she's 24, and she sees the light, and she she did her own research, and I'm very proud of her. And I'm not going to vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm not going to serve two masters. I'd rather for it to fall down before I can look at myself in the mirror.
Appreciate that call. 857-600-0518. And listen, I definitely, one thing never mind. I already told you guys, I'm not here. I am not here. I will not be the person trying to convince you to vote against your moral conscience. So if you call and say that you're never voting for Hillary Clinton, I'm not going to say anything, but thank you for the call. I want you to do exactly what matter of fact, let me unpack this here. Today was the first day, like Umar, the first caller, mentioned this. Today was the first day that I saw the narrative of Bernie Bros and Bernie Sanders being dangerous, being circulated. and picking up steam. And this is how it starts. It starts as a small conversation, and it starts spreading very rapidly to become a national conversation. So, I started seeing people call us dangerous. Then I started to go back and think about all the different things that they have described Bernie Sanders and Bernie Sanders supporters as. And this is important to me because this is a part of their blueprint. Like Umar stole my thunder a few minutes ago. This is exactly their game plan, and this is what we need to be prepared for. But look at everything that they've called us. They've called us racist. I'm not that a black person can't be racist, but according to them, I'm racist. I'm sexist. Bernie bros are misogynists. We're childish. We're spoiled. We're low information voters. And now we're dangerous. And so my question to them is, if Bernie Sanders supporters are all these things, why in the entire hell would you want our vote in November? Why would you ever want to be associated with people that you feel are childish, immature, spoiled, low information voters, dangerous, sexist, racist? Because one or two things is true, right? Either you are just completely making up these narratives for political expediency, or you genuinely think this about us and you still want our votes. Neither one of those speaks volumes about your integrity. So which is it? Are you simply making these narratives up just so that you can win a primary, no matter what it costs, no matter what lies you have to spend? Because if you really believe this about us, then you have no business wanting anything from us in November. The problem is that they don't know when to stop. That's the real answer, Umar, to your question as to why would they do this when they already have it in the bag. They already believe they have it in the bag. I mean, for all intents and purposes, save California, they have this in the bag. So why would they go as far as pushing out this AP story, pushing out an email, the supplemental email with the wrong date stamp, called secret win? Why would they do all of this and on top of that add to the insult to injury, saying that now we're dangerous? The reason is because the Clinton family does not know when to stop. They don't know the extent to which they can get away with something. They don't have limits, and they don't know when to stop. That's the only thing that I could come up with that made any sense, because any practical politician, any political strategist would tell you, do not go beyond a certain threshold. Push the envelope, but don't go beyond that threshold. And they don't know when to stop, because now they've gone into the threshold of scorching the earth and not getting any support from Bernie Sanders supporters, but a small fraction of people who are not thoroughly engaged. So it really goes to show you that this is just another example of when the Clintons take things too far. And I'm afraid that this is the type of behavior that would follow a President Hillary Clinton. And if she proves me wrong, I will be glad to eat my words. But for right now, everything in this primary tells me that they do not know when to stop. They don't know when to leave well enough alone. All right, caller, let's take this call. You're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
Hey, it's John from Mississippi.
My dude, John, how's it going? What's on your mind?
Oh, not much. I was just thinking about the AP story and the timestamp or whatever. I mean, that wouldn't be surprising at all. That, and a matter of fact, I'm pretty confident that the Clinton campaign knew that this would come out, because they either had an idea or possibly knew the exact date that the AP conducts their survey of remaining superdelegates to get their feel, and they probably, and I'm sure they had I'm sure there was a board somewhere at Clinton headquarters where they marked who is a superdelegate, who is,
of course,
and they probably knew that when that survey time came, that they would cross that threshold if because they know who's on their side, and they know their numbers within the superdelegates.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, no, they're tracking this 100%. You know, thanks for the call, John. You know damn well that every step of the way they're tracking this. They know exactly where everyone stands. I'm getting this in from online. I'll just say that our dude, friend of the show, Alex Law, is only at 20%. So I'm going to check in on that race and see exactly what's going on over there. California results won't come in until 11, so we may be off of the air by then, but we'll keep an eye on it. And so, yeah, I'm going to follow up on Alex Law and see what's going on there. Alex Law has had a very impressive campaign that he was running over there, but he was running against establishment players. I saw was it a tweet or a chat message? Michael Solomon, thanks for observation. You know, this type of impact that the media has and their ability to suppress turnout simply by projecting a winner before time could absolutely have a direct effect on down ballot tickets, including Alex Law's campaign there in New Jersey. All right, 857-600-0518. So Jamil Smith, God, it finally just clicked. Sorry. Jamil Smith, and he was formerly of the New Republic. He's the one that said that act as though we would be asking too much for the Associated Press to, quote unquote, sit on this story. Here's the thing. There was no breaking news. There was no breaking news for them to sit on. They went and dug this up and did exactly what you would expect in this type of primary, just like Glenn Greenwald stated. This is something that they went and they found and they created the narrative. And that's, in most cases, that would actually be okay, except for the fact that they did it on the night before 700 delegates could be awarded on the final Super Tuesday. I mean, that's literally taking the wind out of the sails of millions of voters, essentially saying that and don't get it twisted. This could have also had a negative impact on Hillary Clinton supporters, right? This could have had a negative impact on turnout, period. And so for anyone to tout this as acceptable, they're doing so from a point of privilege, yes, because they think it's okay because their candidate was the one declared a winner. Willing to sacrifice that last vestige of integrity for the purposes of political expediency. That is the trend of this election, period. That is everything that this election is about. All right, South Dakota is in, 49% is in, Hillary Clinton at 53.9%, Sanders at 46.1%. Okay, let's have this next conversation. So it looks like Hillary is going to possibly get a clean sweep of several states tonight. South Dakota, she has a pretty commanding lead at 53.9%. North Dakota, Bernie Sanders has a huge lead, so he's fine there. New Mexico, Hillary Clinton is up 53 to Bernie Sanders 46.7%. New Jersey, Hillary Clinton has already been declared the winner. It'll be interesting to see. I want to see a crosstab of Bernie Sanders turnout, 125,000 votes compared to Alex Law's turnout. I want to see what percentage of Bernie Sanders supporters did not vote for Alex Law. I don't know if I can get that on the fly on air, but that would be fly if I could get that on air. Next conversation. I started talking about this on Friday in a Periscope, live Periscope from Daytona Beach. I asked a question a couple of months back about what you would think as a listener and a supporter of Bernie Sanders, what you would think if he took the VP nod, vice presidential position. And most of you I think we did an actual survey of it, but most of you said that you would feel that Bernie Sanders has sold out if he accepted the vice presidential nomination. Here's why I didn't really say where I came down on it then, but I'm going to say it now. I think Bernie Sanders should take the VP spot. Matter of fact, I think Bernie Sanders should demand the VP spot. No questions, no, nothing. No negotiation, demand it. If they want the votes, they want the support of Bernie, of these racist, bigoted, sexist, misogynist, dangerous Bernie Sanders supporters, then they've got to give up something. But forget about that. That's not even the real reason. The real reason I think Bernie Sanders should demand the VP spot is because this election has been about suppressing and crushing the progressive movement. And they have gone as far as moving themselves as far right possible without crossing over into the realm of you may as well be a damn Republican, right? But that's how far right they've gone just for the sake of creating opposition points against Bernie Sanders and the progressive movement. They have defamed and derided every single progressive idea from single payer down to just the social safety nets, right? Down to promoting this is what they've been for a long time, but they haven't been so open with it. And when I say they, not only the Hillary Clinton campaign, but I'm talking about her surrogates. I'm talking about the media. Everything about this election has been about suppressing progressivism at all costs. And so their crowning achievement would be to be able to just make the progressive movement go away. And by Bernie Sanders demanding a VP spot, it is a constant reminder to them that we are not going anywhere. Now, I'm going to be a constant reminder. I'm sure the new Progressive Era show would be a constant reminder. The Same Progressive will be a constant reminder. Tom Hartman, all of these media outlets would be a constant reminder that we aren't going anywhere. However, nothing would be a bigger monument to progressivism in the heart of the Democratic Party than Bernie Sanders being the vice president. That's it. I think he should demand it, and I think he should take it, and I think that they should acquiesce, and I think he should take no prisoners, period. Done. Because they need to swallow the pill that this person that they've made out to be the most evil man to run for president next to Donald Trump is sitting damn in their face every single day for the next 4 years. And because if there's any hope of having any progressiveness in the next 8 years, or next 4 to 8 years, it would require somebody in that cabinet that is not a token neoliberal. I mean, for the love of God, I swear for God, if they get somebody like the Castro brothers or Cory Booker, you know, they are just blank suits, empty suits. Sorry, Cory. Listen, I used to follow your work, and then I found out that I probably shouldn't follow your work because I followed your work too closely. If they get somebody like that, then it's lights out. Just forget about it. It's going to be nothing but neoliberal, blank Manchurian corporate candidates doing and expressing and feigning identity politics outrage for the next 4 years. And I can't stomach that. I can't. I mean, I'll have fun calling them out every day. But the reality of it is, for progress, you know, I don't think that it is selling out for him to be ever present every step of the way in the vice president spot. I don't care about party unity at this point. I don't care, because you're going to either vote for Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or Jill Stein, or you're not going to vote, or maybe you're going to vote for the Libertarian Party. I don't care. I'm saying that it is only right and proper for Bernie Sanders, who has fought and done something that has never been done before, raised all of this money on small donors without super PACs, who has gone this far to push America towards a more progressive movement and era, and to face this unprecedented vitriol from people who are ostensibly progressive. Nah. We don't go away. We don't disappear. We are right there in their faces every single day. And I think part of that being, and when I say they, not Republicans, Democrats, to be in the face of Debbie Wasserman Schultz every single day, to be in the face right next to Hillary Clinton every single day. Bernie Sanders, VP spot. Let's take this call. That's just my opinion. I'm sure you have your own. 857-600-0518. Caller, you're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
Hello?
Yes, this is you. You're live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
Hey, this is Manoa. How are you?
Hey, you could have called. Hang on. Oh, you're on your phone. What's going on?
I'm on my phone. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all, to call in. I know everybody else been calling, but I had to get on this real quick. That boy, Bernie better not be her VP. I have to disagree with you, big brother.
Go ahead.
Because we have spent all of this time building this movement, building this way of being, this critique on democracy as it exists in America, on the Democratic Party. For him to then get in line, so to speak, I mean, in theory, you would think that maybe he'd have the opportunity to help shape. I think it's really different when you look at 2008, where you had Biden, who also ran, for president and then became the VP nominee. I think that there's such a stark difference. For us to say for so long they're not there, people try to say, oh, they're really the same, and we say, no, and this is what's wrong with her, and these are the issues, and this is what's wrong. And for Bernie to say that he has questions on issues with the way the Clinton Foundation has done their fundraising while she has been Secretary of State, yet her husband is pulling in money, yet they're negotiating donations for their foundation from dictators and arms dealers and stuff while she's Secretary of State. If we have all these actual moral and ethical issues with the way she acts, I don't know how we then get behind him as her VP. Like, I understand what you're saying, but I just can't wrap my head around it.
Here's your choices.
And I know
Here are your choices. These are your choices. Go. Your choices are this. For Bernie Sanders, these are his choices, actually, because you as a voter, you could do whatever the heck you want to. But these are Bernie Sanders' choices. He's either going to endorse her like a quote unquote good Democrat is supposed to do, right? Which and get nothing. Right. But maybe a chairmanship on in the Senate. Right. Or not the Senate majority leader. They'll never give him that. So he can endorse her and just be a good Democrat and get some back of the room, appointment. Or he can run as an independent and just kind of buck the system and say, go to hell with all of you. Or he can demand the VP pick. The first option is completely, in my opinion, would completely undermine everything that he said because he gets nothing for it, right? He endorses and he disappears and he goes the way of the dinosaur. The second option, he's not going to do, right? Everyone's saying go run independent. It's too late, really, in a lot of ways, and he's not going to join forces with the Green Party. So that's really not. So to me,
I definitely agree.
The only real choice would be for him to make demands. And the greatest demand for him to make would be, I will be your VP and I will have my own voice and I will still be Bernie Sanders in the VP spot. I think that's the real power play here. Other than that, it's just he's going to disappear.
The only way I see that working is somehow that would lead us to morphing into, where you have a situation in other countries, how you have a prime minister and a president who come from different parties, right? And so you have a government that has multiple voices. And only if we move to that type of scenario, then possibly I see that happening. But that it would have to be a very, very strong. But the way these I'm with her, yes, girl, yes, we got our female president, yes. The way these folks are acting and happening, I don't see him being able to maneuver in Washington in that way. I do think that there is definitely, he's running for re-election in his position too, as senator. I do think that regardless of what happens, whether we stay with the Dems, whether we leave, whatever people decide to do, we do need to help continue to push and change the narrative of what's going on in the way we do politics here in America and handle our elections and process, et cetera. That is like absolutely clear from this election cycle. But again, I still think there's a strong difference. Like the candidates are so different. In 2016, there's an article not too long ago. I think it might have been a Sean King piece about how this is not 2008.
Right.
You know, Barack Obama. People could fall in line behind Barack Obama because he was a better alternative to begin with.
Right.
He was the best candidate in that cycle. Hillary Clinton has the name. She has the friends. She has the connection. She has the
she's
media.
The quintessential
she has the establishment.
Yeah, she's the queen insider.
She is an ultimate insider, and so she has everything lined up in her favor. And I think honestly, I can't, as a woman, I can't even celebrate this because it took so much dysfunction and manipulation for her to win.
But check this out. You as a voter, and I want to listen, nothing that I've said, nothing that preceded this conversation that you and I are having is anything to say that you or anyone else should support Hillary Clinton because Bernie Sanders would be the VP pick. This has nothing to do with you as an individual voter and your individual decision. I completely support everyone's individual decision to vote exactly how they see fit. What I'm saying is I think that the best concession for Bernie Sanders as a candidate, as well as the progressive movement, would be the constant reminder in their face every single day that, one, you didn't get here without us. Two, we're not going anywhere. Three, that is a constant rallying point. That it would not require. I like what you said about the parliamentary system and the president versus the prime minister. It wouldn't require any adaptation of that system per se, but it would take us back to a time when you had a president and a vice president who had fundamentally different views on things. And I think that is an even more healthy presidency than or executive branch than just a yes man in the vice president spot. I mean, let's be real. It would be hard. It would be hardest for Bernie Sanders, right? It would be extremely hard for him because every day he would have to ask himself, am I going to speak out about this or am I going to be quiet about this? And I actually have enough belief that Bernie Sanders has nothing to lose, that he would constantly be speaking out for progressive values every single day in the office of the vice presidency. And that would constantly be a rallying cry for progressives. I think that's my reasoning behind it. You guys who wouldn't be on board with that, obviously do whatever's best for you. But I just see
someone in the chat room said this is actually a good idea. If Clinton gets indicted and Bernie is VP, so does Bernie anyway. But I just want to call in because I really want to talk to you because we miss you. And just give my throwing my little 2 cents. But I'm watching and I'm loving the show. Glad to have you back from vacay.
Glad to be back. Thanks for holding it down while I was gone, Noah.
Awesome. Well, we're all in it together. All right, I'm going.
All right.
Someone else call in. Talk to Ben. All right, bye.
857-600-0518. I know I had a great write-up in the New York Times today. You guys go check my timeline and her timeline for the link. Make sure you go read it and retweet it. She was speaking about what's next. So, in my opinion, I just think that's... Okay, and I'm petty. I want every person who has said something negative about the most progressive candidate that we've had in a long time, I want them to burn up on the inside every single motherfucking day when they see Bernie Sanders in the VP spot. I'm petty. But it also has some practical ramifications, right? It's very practical because it would be a great rallying point and a constant reminder to this Democratic Party that they can't do anything without progressives. The last thing that I want to see happen is for Bernie Sanders to go the way of the dinosaurs, to disappear into a quietness and the abyss of nothingness, and they appoint some Manchurian blank suit candidate, neoliberal like Cory Booker to be the VP, and all we have are damn identity politics for the next 4 years. That's it. I honestly, sorry, Cory, I get nauseous when I think about you. I'm sorry. I do. Because, what you and other candidates really kind of stand for today isn't what we need. It's not. And it's like, what is it? It's like, not you particularly, Cory. Don't take this personally. But this style of candidate today, it's like chocolate covered shit. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. It's chocolate covered shit because it looks good on the outside, You have the appearance of everything that America needs for progress. But as soon as you get past the chocolate, you see all the bullshit on the inside, all the crap of trickle down economics light, the same type of foreign policies that got us into the mess that we're in the first place, the same type of economic policies that gut and eviscerate the middle class and the working class. All of that wrapped in identity politics, all of that wrapped behind people who look good in a suit. Chocolate cover shit. And I just kind of get nauseous when I think about that. 857-600-0518. It's a good possibility I'll never be able to get Cory Booker on the show for an interview. But hey, it is what it is. You don't come here for you come here for me to say whatever the hell I feel is the truth, and that's what I feel is the truth. Call it here live on the air. What's your name, comment, and or question?
Hey, Ben. Name's Alan from Kansas City. I have a comment about your statement about Bernie being VP.
Go for it, man.
And I also have a comment about just the entire process and what Bernie should do. My critic is very simple. There's moral clarity in this world, and there's absolute moral decay. Mm-hmm. Bernie Sanders epitomizes what's good about politics. He's there advocating for the average man. Every person, every Democratic voter who is for Bernie sees this clearly as day. The problem with the Democratic establishment is wanting to force feed us a candidate. Mm-hmm. And I understand progressiveness. Yes, we need a woman leader, but if you want feminism to actually come to the forefront, let it be on merit. Mm-hmm. Clinton is a very, very damaged candidate. And what we see by the establishment politics with everything that has been done by the machinations of Debbie Wasserman Schultz mm-hmm. to put a Clinton into the White House again and obscuring any clarity when it comes to Bernie Sanders being the actual legitimate candidate, mm-hmm. lets you question as to whether the Democratic Party is a true democracy. Well, what we're being force-fed is a choice. We're being told, let's take the lesser of two evils between Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. But the truth be told is it's really not a choice because the actual viable candidate is Bernie Sanders. Mm-hmm. Now, I understand, Ben, you say let him join the Clinton machine and become VP. I think that's a bad choice. Mm-hmm. I'll go conspiracy theory on you. What is going to happen is Bernie's going to be asked to sit at the back of the bus and swallow a bitter pill. And anybody with any kind of moral clarity like Bernie would not want to be in that hell for 8 years.
Oh, that's not a conspiracy. That's not a conspiracy theory at all. I think you're spot on in the fact that they would demand silence from him. And the question is whether or not he could remain silent. I don't think he would remain silent, but, they would not. He would not do anything that's going to require them to ask for his resignation, but he would do everything else. I think he would speak out when a policy is bad. I think he would step up when something needs to be advocated for. They would ask him. I agree. They would ask him to go to the back of the bus and be silent, but I don't think he would do that. But go ahead, finish your main point.
There's one African saying that usually says, when a child cries for a razor blade, give it to the child. To analogize this in American politics is if the establishment is trying to feed us a failed candidate, let's go ahead and do that. Mm-hmm. And what happens historically is I suspect that the Clinton years will be looked back as a reckoning moment for the United States. That's all I have to say on the matter because it is as simple as this. Bernie is a legitimate candidate who wants to actually change this country for the forces mm-hmm. of good in this nation. And the Clintons are all about self-enrichment. All I can think of is how she has sat back for the past 30 years and done political calculus to be able to covet this position. There's something right to be said about somebody who covets power.
Yep. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. Thanks so much for the call. Especially that last point. I don't disagree with that at all. Most of your points I don't disagree with. The only thing I disagree with is I think Bernie Sanders has the moral fortitude to actually speak up, even in the VP. I'm sorry. The entire idea of Bernie demanding the VP spot is based on Bernie's character and his inability. The only thing Bernie is incapable of is talking about anything else other than what he firmly believes, which is pure progressivism. and fighting for the common man. He is incapable of going off that talking point. He is going to always stay there. He's going to always be focused on that. And I fully expect if he were to take the VP spot, he would take that same clarity into the office and hold Hillary Clinton accountable to that. Now, let's be clear. Nothing I'm saying about him demanding the VP spot has anything to do with party unity, because personally, I don't care about party unity. Unite who? I don't care. It's got nothing to do with me, right? The Democratic Party doesn't do anything for me, and that's why, therefore, I don't care about unity. It has nothing to do with, it has everything to do with the reality that a Bernie Sanders VP spot would be the only progressive voice that we would have in a significant position for the next 8 years, because every other position is going to be stacked and stocked with nothing else but neoliberal tokenism, neoliberal multiculturalism. You know, you're going to have plenty of black faces. You're going to have plenty of Hispanic faces, plenty of women faces. You're going to have all these faces, but they're going to be, as soon as you get past that chocolate covered coating, it's going to be all the bullshit on the inside that is repugnant to us. So I honestly, for multiple reasons, think that he should take the VP. Not take, he should demand. He should demand it to the point where they're pissed off because they have to give it up. Now, will it happen? Likely not. But I don't think, I think that is the only position of strength for him to walk away from this. Otherwise, he's going to be endorsing her. My word, like, let's be serious here. Otherwise, Bernie Sanders is going to be endorsing Hillary Clinton and giving the VP spot to somebody like Cory Booker or the Castro brothers, which is all of the repugnance and the nausea that you feel without any of the reward. There's an episode of The Walking Dead when the mid-season premiere where they ran into Negan's guys, and the guy said, if you have to eat shit, chew, swallow, repeat. You know, don't sit there and dwell on the shit. You just got to bite, chew, swallow, repeat. Get something out of it, though. Just sit there and you don't get the point, because it probably didn't make any sense, but it made sense to me. The point is this, is that Bernie Sanders is going to endorse her, then damn it, Bernie Sanders needs to get something out of it for progressives, for the entire movement. I do not believe on any given day of the week that Bernie Sanders is just going to walk away and not endorse Hillary Clinton. He's not going to make it out. Even if he hates it, he's not going to make it out of this primary season without endorsing Hillary Clinton. Let's just be very pragmatic about it. He will endorse Hillary Clinton. And I'm saying that if he has to go as far as endorsing Hillary Clinton, then make these neoliberals pay. Sorry, that's just my reasoning. But that's why I'm not in office. Caller, you're the last caller of the night. What's your name, comment, and/or question?
Hey, my name's Nippon. I called like a while back about like if no one makes it to like 270. Like, you remember that? And like if they don't have a Supreme Court justice. I still have not found an answer to that.
What was your final? Give me the question one more time.
Hard for it.
If no one gets to 270, and we have a split court, right?
Right. And it would have to go to the House, which hasn't confirmed a new Supreme Court justice, and it created this cyclical, sort of thing. That's not why I called in about the VP thing, but that is one thing. One thing, like, Bernie doesn't appear to be, at least to me, a foolish man. He seems to be very intelligent and well-informed. The only thing here is, and I don't know, maybe it's because of, my race or my youth, but I'm very cynical regarding the state of politics today, and he seems to believe in the betterment of the human spirit at the end of the day. So he'll say something like, oh, well, I honestly believe, heart of hearts, that Hillary is not X, Y, Z, or the DNC is not X, Y, Z, or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And they have not really demonstrated any real, urge to alter how they do business. in a way that is not superficial. You were talking about neoliberal multiculturalism and all that. I really think that's what it would be, and I don't see it in Hillary's character to say like, oh, well, I'll make you VP, or at least even go through with it, primarily because having Bernie as VP, whether he could actually push something or not, overshadows her legacy, which she seems to be very focused on. And in my opinion, I think that's partly why, like, Obama's a little hesitant with Bernie, even if he might agree with some of the things that, Bernie's saying, is because, like, people would, like, look in the history books, like, yeah, we had the first black president, he did all that, that was good for us, but this next guy, wow, the stuff that he was fighting for, and then we had this person and this person. I don't think he wants to be that guy. And if Hillary's saying, hey, more of the same, then you can look in the history books and say, like, oh, well, first black president, first female president, neoliberal multiculturalism, and so on and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah.
And to wrap it up, at the convention, I would essentially consider it, like sort of like an all or nothing fight where, and this isn't his fault. The movement is bigger than him. It's just, I don't see a lot of supporters. Like, even if he came to their door and said, hey, you should vote for Hillary, they'd say, like, hey, I can give you, like, a bite to eat, hug you, take pictures. But at the end of the day, I don't think I'll be able to vote for Hillary. Yeah. So that's my 2 cents on it. So,
hey,
anyway.
Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate that. I think you're absolutely right. Again, I want to reiterate something just because I want there to be perfect, crystal clear clarity on what I'm saying. One, I don't think that Bernie taking a VP spot would be the unification tool, because just like the last caller said, good luck unifying this party, right? Good luck with that. I don't think Obama, Clinton, or Bernie combined, all their forces combined, they couldn't save the planet, right? They couldn't unify the party. What I am saying is very clear is that type of concession puts teeth in progressivism. Now, we talk a lot about what's next, and I'm going to say this and then I'm going to sign off. I see a lot of people saying, oh, let me start here. Above all else, bear with me. I'm trying to find the right place to start. I know exactly what I want to say. This is where I'll start. If you watch me any amount of time, you know I operate on two wavelengths. I say it all the time: pragmatism and idealism. I am an idealist at heart, but I've been trained pragmatically. My scholarship training is realism as much as I hope for idealism. I am a realist by training, and I have to view the world through a pragmatic lens, but I'm still an idealist underneath. This is why this is important, because in the midst of all of my idealism, I understand that there are some practical, pragmatic things that we have to do that are not going to be fun, that are not going to fall in line perfectly with idealism, with our values. It won't. And what I'm talking about is specifically at this point is putting political teeth into the progressive movement to bite the ass of everyone around us, in the sense that we always position the progressive movement for power, not at the cost of our souls, not at the cost of our beliefs, but without fear of power. Because I think a lot of people in the progressive movement are fearful of matriculating through certain environments because they see how repugnant it is, right? I understand that. Some people would never want to spend a weekend at a Democratic event, a convention, because they would be vomiting every other 5 minutes because they see all the games being played. I get that. However, there are two things that we must be pragmatic about in order to keep the progressive movement moving forward. Number one, all the people I see saying they're leaving the Democratic Party as soon as this election is over, and they are only Democrats just to vote for Bernie Sanders, and they'll never. And it's almost like a protest that we're going to go independent after that. That is not pragmatic. It may be in line with your moral conscience, and I get it. But from a pragmatic point of view, We will be in the same exact position 2 and 4 years from now because you're not registered inside of a party that we need to either get rid of the party or take over the party. Whatever your solution is, the solution is not to allow this same exact thing that happened in 2016 to ever happen again. And if everyone is tearing up their Democratic registration, then what happens in 2018 and 2020? When you run into the exact same infrastructure problems, the exact inability to vote because you weren't registered a Democrat. Here's the thing. Pragmatically, it makes absolutely no difference whether you keep your registration as Democrat or actually, I'm sorry, that whole statement is wrong. Let me start that statement again. Pragmatically, it makes all the world of a difference to keep your registration as a Democrat, whether or not you support them on anything. You know why? Because if there comes an occasion where we have the ability to elect a progressive candidate and elect them through the Democratic Party, just like we saw in 2016, then you will be prepared for it. Otherwise, you're going to be in the same exact position. It may make you sick to your stomach because of your idealism, because of your just everything the Democratic Party has taken you through. But it does not mean that you support the Democratic Party. It does not mean that you're going to fall in line with the Democratic Party. It simply means you are remaining in position for the very next opportunity you can to elect true progressives. Pragmatically, I'm sorry, the Green Party is not a solution. Pragmatically, it's not. Currently, it's not. It's not. But pragmatically, you can remain a Democrat and vote for the Green Party. Stay a Democrat so that you can affect change in the Democratic Party whenever the opportunity rarely presents itself, like it did in 2016, and then go vote your conscience with the Green Party. I don't care how you do it, but if you don't want to see the same exact scenario come up in 4 years, don't protest by taking away your own power. And number 2, we have to make politically calculated moves. We have to. And included in that, in my opinion, this is just my opinion. You came here for my opinion. If you don't like it, you can cut it off at this point. But in my opinion, that includes Bernie Sanders demanding huge concessions, something along the lines of the VP spot, to show the political wherewithal of the progressive movement, to show that we're not just idealists that are going to go home when it's all said and done and not be in their face every day for the next 4 years. That doesn't mean you as an individual have to go out and vote for Hillary Clinton. All that means is that if Hillary Clinton manages to get to the White House, she would be in the White House with the most progressive vice president that we've had in generations. And it's a constant reminder that she did not get there without him. It's a constant reminder that the progressive movement will always be here. That is a political calculation that puts teeth in the progressive movement that may cause you some stomach aches at night. I get it. But if all we do as progressives is operate solely on idealistic principles, and we're unwilling to make calculated decisions to gain power for progressivism, then we will forever be on the outside of political power, completely incapable of enacting progressive ideologies. And again, like I said many months ago, I haven't said in a long time, I have no problem doing the dirty work for the right reason. You're going to need somebody to do it. All right, folks, I'm out of here.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog, join the Progressive Army, and support The Benjamin Dixon Show. It's Ben Dixon! If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Consider becoming a Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.